When it comes to planning a retreat, there's ways to get it to go from average to incredibly transformative. Welcome to Retreat Boss, where we speak about inspired travel for fun, transformation, and profit. Guest experts will give you their tips and tricks on creating the most impactful retreats, both for you and your clients. Whether you want a meditative getaway, a wellness trip, or a business escapade, we provide you with the best advice in organizing and hosting a tremendous event. Join Catherine Contos as she talks with fellow experts about creating exclusive and successful retreats. Dive deep into the most unique activities, the best destinations to visit, and the most uplifting trips out there that you can discover. Here is your host, Catherine Contos. Good day and welcome on Retreat Bus, the podcast. Today I have the beautiful Galina Lipina, and she is a certified life coach, an international speaker and trainer, a certified neurochange solutions consultant who has been trained and certified by the amazing Dr. Joe Dispenza, who I love, and an NCS, HeartMath certified consultant. My God, that was a mouthful. Galina, you're so qualified for so many things. Welcome to the show.
Thank you, Catherine. I'm happy to be here.
And it's your birthday today.
It is.
Congratulations on that. And I brought a glass of wine knowing that.
So non-alcoholic version of wine.
All the best. I've done one podcast before where I had a glass of wine. That was a lot of fun, but it was later in the evening, so it's okay. It's like a glass somewhere. I'm really excited to have you on the show because of all your qualifications and how you can help corporations with their teams and individuals as well at their retreats. The qualification from Dr. Joe Dispenza excites me so much because I really value what he stands for and what he coaches and teaches to people like yourself and everybody in the public. And obviously, he's famous for that. Tell me what it was like to learn from him.
It's been an amazing journey. I found him through a friend of mine who has actually healed her back injury by doing his meditations. And, she did a bunch of tests, like crazy accident. And doctors, when they did the tests on her, they told her that her bones, however, healed 10 times faster than humanly possible. And she was doing Dr. Joe's meditation. I'm like, Dr. Joe, who? I need to learn this. Mm-hmm. So a few months later, I went to his retreat in Niagara Falls, and it was just this immediate resonance with his teachings. Like he combined like everything I stand for, like the effectiveness, the spirituality, the quantum physics, like the spiritual, but bringing it down to the practical. And in such an amazing way, like kind of like scientifically explained all the different coaching modalities that I got trained in. And I'm like, I'm in. So I just went all in. And 2 weeks later, I volunteered in his retreat in Moscow. 4 months later, I volunteered in Dubai. And then, pandemic was a little break. And then a year after the pandemic, I did like nonstop a retreat a month, whatever his retreats were. And halfway through the year, I was talking to a friend of mine and I'm like, I wish I could just do this work and nothing else, so I don't have to have another job or source of income. I just want to do this work. And he's like, well, have you thought of becoming a neurochange solutions consultant? I'm like, ooh, what's that? He's like, well, Dr. Joe trains you and then you teach his work to businesses and companies and help them apply all these concepts to increasing whatever business results that they want. But it all comes from the inside of how we handle stress and how we manage our brain and our heart. So we're in the optimal state that allows for creativity, allows for the new ideas, allows for more collaboration. And I'm like, that sounds amazing. So I applied. There was a strict application process, but my intention was clear. So I got in, I got trained and certified. And it's been an amazing journey. I've done a few retreats, kind of like open workshops. So people from different companies come and train. And I'm currently in a few conversations to potentially host the corporate training, which is like my goal and my dream is actually to train teams that work together on a common shared goals to empower them with those tools and then measure the results so they can see that it's not just, meditation is not just for yogis, like it can help you in work too.
So how would you use it in a corporate space? You're saying about teams, but tell me a little bit more. Like, if I were to hire you, I need maybe would there be a limit of amount of people? Would it be like a small type of team building retreat? Or would it be more like you can handle even 300 or 1,000? What would that look like? And what would they get as tools, and what would they be able to fix by the end of it? What would they come out of it with?
Yeah, so there are different applications of like this, heart and brain technologies. They're very well suited to help people with stress and burnout.
Okay.
Because when people feel stressed, it's usually in reaction to their outer environment or their inner thoughts and feelings. And it usually causes their brain to go in this incoherent state of high beta brainwave pattern where they can't think straight and they can't make good decisions, and it impacts their health if it's prolonged. So helping them understand what stress is and how they can build that resilience so they can stay in that balanced state even when the environment is crazy and the demands are high, that allows people to be more in control of their mind and their life. Another application of this is to teaching people how to change and what is change on the neuroscience perspective. So when companies go through an organizational change, whether it's they hired a new CEO that wants to change things around, or it's some sort of a merger and acquisition going on, or they're putting like a new HR system in place, handling the people side of change is important. Because if it's not handled, people are stressed, they are uncertain about their future, many people quit, many people fight, and they become very self-focused and less collaborative. So teaching them these tools will allow them to work better as a team and also feel better in the state of unknown, because we are going through a lot of unknown these days. And building that resilience, that adaptability is a very important skill for any kind of job situation.
Well, you're 100% right on that. There's a lot of structure change because of COVID and what happened. A lot of teams are no longer teams. They're working remotely across the world, and it's going to stay like that.
Yep.
And they need to reconnect because, yes, it's great to have a remote team, and it's great to work from home or from wherever. But you need to reconnect with the team to make sure that the visions are still there, that we're all working on the same, just the same. We're all on the same path. And because the ideas could change, loneliness could creep in, right?
Yeah.
And then you disconnect from your team. So what you're doing is very valuable for these corporations. Mm-hmm. And I think they're starting to, I know they're starting to see that.
Yeah, they value, like a lot of companies I'm talking to, and there's one company that I'm consulting right now with as a project manager. They're also going through a massive change, and they're very open to all of this. They're planning budgets for it. They're dedicating resources to like maintaining and building the right team culture, and planning for like trainings for their people to support them. So it's the companies that are moving forward, they know it's important.
And this is my message to corporations out there. You're saving a lot of money with these remote teams. Use some of that money to go to, right? bring it back into like a retreat space or a workshop where you're reconnecting these teams, because in the end, that little money that you're spending, that you're saved from being remote, will come back to you tenfold and even more from productivity. And you know what? There's nothing greater than having the people that work for you, your staff, feel like that they're part of a team and part of a family, and they're actually rooting for the corporation that they're working for, bitching about it, right?
Yeah.
So, yeah, awesome. And the other thing that you do is HeartMath. Mm-hmm. Can you explain what that is for the people that don't know what it is, and how you would utilize it during your workshops or retreats?
So HeartMath is an amazing company. It's a nonprofit organization. They have been around for more than 20 years. And they have dedicated, like their mission is all around studying the science of the heart and heart coherence. Not the heart like the blood pumping organ, but more like how it's connected to our nervous system, how it's connected to our emotional regulation, and how it's connected to our brain. And research shows that actually the heart sends more signals to the brain than the brain sends to the heart. So when we are in stressful states, our heart is incoherent. And the good thing about HeartMath, they're a research company, so they measure everything. And they have a device, they have a few devices, but Inner Balance is the one that you can just connect to your ear and connect it through the Bluetooth with your phone that can measure your heart coherence in real time. And there are tools that they've developed that people can use to train to become more heart coherent over time. And heart coherence tolerates with the emotions of balance and ease and peace and relaxation, versus the incoherence is connected with like anger and stress and resentment and worry. And a lot of people try to tackle stress on the logical level, but what HeartMath brings is to handling it on the heart level, on the emotional level. And they have all sorts of research around what does it actually do for people in different professions. You know, like police officers and doctors utilize it a lot because they go through a lot of stressful situations. And, you know, it's applied for corporate environments too, because if you're always in this like fight and flight survival state, it's usually your brain is incoherent and your heart is incoherent. And you can actually start balancing it from either direction. So Neurochange Solutions trainings that kind of introduce both the thoughts and the feelings, and the HeartMath mostly focuses on the heart and the feelings. And in my trainings, like I give people the science so they can understand better how things work, but also give them practical tools that they can shift their states in 2 minutes. You know, you're coming out of a stressful meeting and you have a 2-minute break before the next one. You can just do a few simple exercises and bring yourself back to balance so that you're more present and you're more available to the next one.
That's amazing. I think the combination of the two is ideal. It really is ideal. I could really see this being used not only in corporations, but like you said, police officers, you know, and anybody in the, you know, like paramedics, hospitals, because they're always in a stressful situation, and in corporations, right? We're often stressed, and stress brings on disease. You can't be a constant state of stress. I know Dr. Dispenza teaches that. And it's a fact. One of the common denominators in my world where, you know, I'm surrounded by a lot of cancer survivors because I'm a cancer survivor myself for 9 years now. And the common denominator with every single person is they either had a trauma right before, or they were living in constant stress, whether it was work related, marriage, whatever it is. But that they'll always mention something related to stress. And in order to keep your employees healthy and productive and less sick days and all of that, if they could control this as well as having the tools that you're going to give them with everything else, we'll just keep on giving them a gift back, not to their employees and to them.
Yeah, absolutely. And what I love about all these tools, you know, Dr. Joe's and Neurochange Solution tools and HeartMath, is that they don't take a long time and you can use them everywhere. Mm-hmm. So it's very practical. You know, of course, there are longer types of meditations that you can do for an hour or two or longer. But if you can have something in your toolbox that can help you in a matter of minutes, and you're used to practicing that skill, for example, like, you know, when I meditate regularly and I, you know, use my heart monitor to see how things are going, when I get off balance, I notice it immediately, because to me, it feels not normal anymore. Whereas for most people, it feels normal to be stressed. They kind of feel proud of themselves, how well they handle it. And then they should be. But wouldn't it be nice to like change that internal state? So yes, you can still handle a lot and feel really good while you do it.
Exactly. People don't stop to take the time to listen to their body. And that's the whole thing about the meditation practice, right? You get to really go back to baseline. Mm-hmm. And often we don't know what our baseline is because we've never been there. We've never practiced the skills or the tools that have been given to us, or we just don't know. And having that baseline, just knowing what your baseline, you know, it's hard to stay in that baseline all the time. Obviously, we're mm-hmm. human, but to be able, like what you're going to do is give the tools to know to recognize that baseline so they could try to achieve it as often as possible.
Yeah. And they can make that state a habit instead of the other state.
Exactly. And recognize something's wrong with my body, or, oh, I'm off today, or, you know, my mind's wandering, I'm stressed. Where other times, like you said, people don't even realize they're just in that constant state of stress all the time. And it's just their normal. And it shouldn't be. Yeah. It's bad, right?
Yeah. It was like that for me, like years and years ago, before I discovered all this work. And I was working as a project manager in a big company. And I created my path to financial freedom. So I retired on investment income at that time. And it took me a year of doing absolutely nothing to have my energy restored. A year. Wow. And I thought, it's like a couple of weeks vacation, else should be fine. No, a year I didn't want to do anything other than sleep, and eat and go to the beach and just relax.
You were burnt out.
I was burned out. And there's so many people who are in that state. Like I have, one of my former bosses, amazing, amazing woman. But, and that's another thing to know, like when we are the way we are, we think it's the outer environment. Very often we attract that match to us. So she shifted different jobs, different profession, she stayed in her management position, but she shifted different companies, and every company she went into was the same level of overwhelm. And it caused her some health challenges and all of that. And she's like, I know I need to handle it. And it's not physical. It's all the stress. It's all the mental state. So taking care of ourselves, is very, very important.
Very important. And I think everybody knows that. They just don't practice it, or maybe they just don't know how, or, there's so many reasons why. But let's say we took you in that situation that you were in, and we gave them the knowledge that you could provide and the tools that you could give them to help them. What difference would there be in the timeline as to their recovery?
Oh, hopefully I wouldn't need the recovery because I will be in a good state, right? But potentially would shorten it much more because, I look at stress as like, stress and burnout, right? Stress is like, you feel stressful in the moment, but burnout is chronic stress. So if you're stressed 24/7 for months and months and months, the longer is the period that you feel in that state, the longer the time that you need to recover. But also, how do you recover? Most people, they just go on vacation and they drink Mai Tai by the pool, and which is great. Being in nature and by the water is really helpful. But these tools for practicing the heart coherence, the brain coherence, the different meditations, they allow people to restore that balance faster. And not just use the outside environment to then control their state to be better. Some people go partying, some people go, drinking, some people, go play sports. And it's all like, you're still kind of like a victim to the environment, but in a good way. You're using the environment to impact you positively. And the tools that we teach, they actually allow people to create that state from inside out. Okay. So they feel in control and they know it's only up to them. And the environment has, like, once they master it, no person, no thing, no place will move you from that state. That's the end goal, right? And it takes some time to get there, of course.
What is it about you that makes you feel that you can, tell me something basically that maybe people don't know about you, that'll give you that edge over other people with what you do? Maybe it could be something quirky, it could be something, whatever, but something that will make, I personally love you. You have such a great personality. You exude a very genuine, joyous kind of energy. And that's attractive, right? Like, people are attracted to that. And I think you would really, really connect with the people that you work with, no matter how difficult, I don't like using how difficult the situation may be or person may be, to how easy or how sensitive they might be. I think you can handle all of that because of your personality. That's my opinion, and my, that's what I see in you. But I would like you to tell me what you feel would make people just really connect with you because of something maybe we don't know.
Well, it's hard to see what people don't know about me because I'm pretty open book. Well, I'm from Russia, so I can very much relate with people who moved to this beautiful country of United States of America and, getting established here. Also having been exposed to different cultures. I obviously grew up in Russia. I lived in the United States for many years. I lived in Costa Rica for 3 years. I traveled the world. I've been in corporate. I've been in small business startups. I've been on the solopreneur journey. I've been an investor. I made money. I lost a lot of money. So some I had some really good highs, retiring when I'm 33. And I had some pretty big lows, losing $1 million and having no plan to repay it. And in those states, yes, the mind tends to kind of focus on how do I fix that thing outside there? But what I found is fixing the inside, that's what changes things. And, as long as I was in the emotions of, guilt and self-blame and whatever, nothing was changing. There were no solutions coming. But the more I shifted into hope and belief and self-compassion and my trust that I can create anything. Like I really believe that. And at a certain point when shit went way south, I stopped believing that for some time. And I was in a pretty dark place for a while. Like it wasn't like a, 1 second shift. It took months, right? But I came out of it and I really saw that like we never attract things to our lives that we're not ready to handle. If it feels that way, it's probably not true. And just knowing that, we can create what we're destined to create. And it's just a matter of connecting with ourselves to figuring out what's the next. For some people, it's the business focus. For some people, it's, growing inside a bigger company. For some people, it's focusing on relationships because their money is fine, but they're single for too long. For some people, it's addressing health. Fun fact, I love health. I do all sorts of crazy things with my body. And I did dry fasting, which is like no food, no water for 7 days, multiple times.
God.
Yeah, I did it 5 times now, and that has been incredible.
Wait a second. So, you can't live without water after 3 days.
Yeah, that's a common misconception. Disclaimer, I do not recommend it to do it with medical supervision. I did it under guidance of a woman.
Can I ask why you went to?
Yeah.
Being to a foodie here, I'm like, no, I'd rather die than be without food, right?
I love it. And many people's like, oh, I can do no food but no water. It was actually interestingly that dry fast was much easier for me than water fast. Way easier. No headaches, no dizziness, nothing. And many people do dry fasting for health reasons because they want to clear some health conditions. For me, I really needed a mental reset. And I talked to my dad, who's done dry fasting for many times, but I always looked like him. He was crazy, and then I just had this knowing that it's like, maybe I should try this because I meditate for hours and I'm still not able to get to the balanced state. Like something is like, I need something heavier, artillery. And then I researched and I talked to people who've done it, and I've talked to people who've guided other people doing that. And what I found is dry fasting works way faster than water fasting. So like a week of dry fast is an equivalent to 40 days of water fast in its depth. But also it provides a lot of benefits in the mental, emotional, and spiritual states. Because it really, and for me, it was, like, I don't know how it happened. Like my first dry fast, first few days were so tough, but not physically. Because all the emotions that I was suppressing, they came straight to the surface because I no longer used food and drinks to, try to not feel things.
Right.
And when I stopped drinking even water, I noticed how many times a day it's like, oh, I don't feel well. Let me go drink something. Let me go eat something. And when I took that away, I had to sit with those emotions. And I'm like, oh, that's a lot. I don't know how I can handle it. And in 5 days, it was just clean slate. I had no inner chatter. I had no sadness. Like all of it went away and I felt so present. And I would like touch a tree and I would cry because how beautiful it was. And then, when I started like creating, it was from a clean slate. Instead of trying to overcome all these dark emotions from all this, external stressors, it was just clean and silent. And every time I do it, day 5 is usually I hit that state. And so I use that periodically when I feel like I'm stepping into the new chapter or I just need a reset, or at a certain point, my body's like, I don't want to eat anymore. I was like, oh, time to fast. So, it has amazing benefits, but, people need to consult somebody before they do it. They want to make sure, all of that, because many conditions it's not recommended for, but I'm generally healthy. And, I did get it for the first time under guidance of a woman who has a dry fasting retreat center in Ukraine for like 10 years. So she guided like hundreds, thousands of people through this experience. So I knew, when something is going on, it's okay. Or when something is going on, it's not okay. And I need to like do something different. So, but yeah,
just as a joke, she must save a lot of money on that retreat because there's no food or water.
I know. To me, it's just like so amazing. It's like you save money on food, you save time because you don't need to shop for food, make food, clean up the dishes. You save money, time, and also you get more time because when you dry fast, you sleep much less. Like on average, it was like maybe 3-4 hours a night, and that was it. So I got so many hours in my day to focus on everything else. It was phenomenal.
I'm assuming you didn't do anything physical, like were you
Yeah,
Resting and
you have to walk a lot. So like movement is very necessary. So your lymphatic system keeps moving and all of that, but not hard work. Like I wouldn't do like, marathons or anything. But like minimal movements and maybe, how do they call it? Trampolines, that kind of things. It's very, very necessary. Yeah.
interesting. I think Tai Chi would be good for that also.
Yeah. Yoga, stretching, very, very, very well.
Yeah. Wow. I will never try it. I know myself, I would never do it. First of all, I can't for health reasons, but it's not attractive to me. But you know what? If it could give you the benefits that you get from it, like you're saying, then absolutely do it. If, of course, you consult first. Please consult first, whoever is watching this. Yeah. Oh, wow. It's nice to meet somebody that did it, though. Beautiful. How can people reach out to you? You have a website that you just launched. So what's the website called?
Yeah, so the website is turningpoint.pro.
Okay.
So you can find everything about what I do there. And there's a contact form and ability to book a call with me. I'm also on LinkedIn, Galina Lipina. And I probably will launch a YouTube channel in the next few days. So you can find me there as well.
Perfect. So please, anybody who is listening to this, you are there to be hired for corporate team building retreats, leadership, right? I don't know if I'm sure there's a few other things, but anybody who wants to create that environment of connection within their corporation should look up Galina. Thank you so much for being here today and sharing your knowledge and everything that you have to offer. I truly value your experience and knowledge in all this, and your time for being here today on your birthday.
Thank you, Catherine. Very grateful to be here. I just also realized I didn't answer fully one of your questions of like the formats that I teach people. So yes, retreats is one way. We can also teach people online because in this day and world, many teams are like remote. Mm-hmm. So the formats of the teaching is very flexible. So whether you have a corporate retreat that you want to incorporate this into, or you want to like put like a training stretched over multiple weeks and a few hours in a week, that's also is available. Yeah, we're evolving with the modern day and age. So all of this is available.
Amazing. Thank you for clarifying that. I think it's very important so they could know what they could do with you. Absolutely. Please reach out to Galina. And for anybody who's looking to take courses on retreat planning or some type of training for your human resources or your social events person at your corporation, reach out to retreatboss.com. We're available for those types of training, or just hire us and we do it all for you. Have a wonderful day. And until next time, see you at retreatboss.com.
Thank you for listening to the Retreat Boss podcast. When it comes to achieving wellness and transformation, nothing is more effective and profound than a well-orchestrated retreat. Achieve huge revenue growth, one trip at a time. Want to learn more on expanding your business with retreats? Visit retreatboss.com, when profitable retreats are made easy. Be sure to leave a rating and subscribe to the show at retreatboss.com/podcast. Until next time, take care.